My name's Harper. I'm the president and CEO of JFE Shoji Power Canada. We're a division of the Japanese multinational JFE Holdings. Our business is in Canada. Our parent company, as I said, is in Japan, and we have about 450 team members, and of that, probably 75-80% are part of our operational team. It was actually the early days of the pandemic. So there was a couple significant events that were going on as we started looking for a platform to communicate with all of our team. So there's lots of uncertainty, lots of challenges, and specifically with both the pandemic and our ownership change, a lot of things that people needed to know about that we didn't necessarily have a good way to get them information. Of our operating team, none of them have access to company email addresses. So we had more than 300 people that we couldn't easily communicate with. And that was really difficult, especially given the volatility of what was going on and the uncertainty that people were feeling with things like the pandemic and also the ownership change. So we wanted a vehicle to provide good, accurate information to everybody in a very timely way. It is particularly difficult for us, or has been in the past difficult for us on Saturdays and Sundays, because the day shift or the day management team, if you want to call it that, are not here. They're still in some communication, but they're not physically here, so they don't have that presence. It can be really difficult, but especially when there's times of uncertainty, whether it's at 9 p.m. or 6 a.m. or Saturday or Sunday or Friday, our frontline leaders and our team needs the support to make those decisions when things are changing. And when you start going out of that routine, people get nervous, they get scared, they don't want to make a mistake, especially at the leadership level. So it was really difficult running a 24/7 operation during some of those times, because so many things were changing that our operational team needed to change and adapt to feel good, to feel supported, and to feel that they're being successful. Before Blink, we would, like many manufacturing businesses, we would put postings on communication boards, as many places we could, so that people had visibility and access. We had TV monitors for important information, and really that was the primary source of information, or word of mouth through their frontline leader, which is really difficult, especially through some of the challenges that we had, because we didn't have any way of communicating people when they were not work or when they were preparing to come to work. So if we'd made a change in terms of our COVID policy, for example, that people needed to do something specific or need to be prepared for it, they didn't find that out until they got here. Then may get part of the information, completely inaccurate information, an interpretation of what someone else said. It was all a little bit difficult to get accurate information consistent to everybody at the same time. During those times, the communication vehicles using communication boards and that kind of thing are only one-way communication. So if someone reads something and they don't quite understand it, there's nobody there to say, hey, what does this actually mean? So what they would do is they would probably go to their friend and say, what do you think that means? And then there'd be a common decision of what that meant and whether it was right or not. So lots of weaknesses with legacy information systems with those types of communications. But at the time, that's all we had, and it wasn't very good. With respect to our decision of selecting Blink and the work that we went into to decide and identify it, honestly, it was the only program that I found that came anywhere near what we needed as a business. We were looking for a way to communicate important information in a timely way to all of our team. We were looking for something that was an information channel, like a feed that would just be able to post quickly for everybody at the same time information. It's kind of like your communication board, but it's actually live and everyone sees it at the same time. The other things that we were looking for is a way to communicate one-on-one with our operating team. The other thing that was really important, and I think is unique with respect to Blink, and probably one of the things that is used most frequently here, is the hub. We look at it as an internal kind of SharePoint source of information. We're now using the hub for all of our policies, procedures, kind of company information, etc., so that everyone has access to that. At the time then, without Blink, 75% of our team had to find that information either from somebody else or go look at it in a book somewhere, which wasn't particularly good. Those were really the three things that we were really looking for that Blink provided for us. A channel to provide kind of routine information through something like the feed, the ability to communicate to people one-on-one through a confidential means that was not their personal account through the chat feature, and third, a place for people to get important company information that's more static that they need to refer to on a regular basis. And I think Blink did that better than anybody else. Actually, I looked for 6 months. Our team looked for 6 months and didn't find anything anywhere near cost effective for the 350 people that we had. I don't honestly know how we would have managed as well as we did through the ups and downs of the pandemic, communicated as effectively the impact of our ownership change, the impact of our business volatility over the last 18 months. The gossip chain works pretty fast, and we were trying to be faster than the gossip chain, and I think we've succeeded at that. Probably one of the best recent examples that we've had where I think we've used Blink really effectively, and it's really made a huge difference. Across North America and much of the Western world, we're all suffering from severe shortage of the labor market. So we've been strategizing over the last 6 months of how to effectively deal with that. So our business volume is probably up at least 20%, and we could sell more if we could actually get enough people to fulfill the higher level of orders that we can get. So we've done a couple of really creative things, not only attract new people, but also to retain the existing people. And what we've done is we were having trouble with people working a lot less overtime than they had in the past. So when you're short people, you also are hoping that your operating team, steps up and works a little extra time to keep production going at the level we needed to. So we created an overtime sweepstakes. The overtime sweepstakes effectively is every time someone works an overtime shift, their name goes into a draw. We do monthly prizes for that. We did the first one yesterday. The first prize winner won a $1,400 60-inch TV or something like that. And at the end of the summer, we're putting everybody who's worked overtime into a draw for a family of 4 trip to Walt Disney. It's only been able to get the traction we needed because we were able to communicate it, promote it, and help people understand it through the Blink app. Where we are in Canada, we're on the west end of Toronto, very highly congested area, very high real estate costs. So a lot of our people travel a long way to come here. And we were starting to lose people that were living farther away from us. So we have announced a few weeks ago a fuel subsidy. So we're subsidizing some of the higher costs of gasoline and fuel to help people get to work. Those two things have had an enormous immediate impact. We've exceeded our recruitment requirements the last 2 weeks, and we announced this 3 weeks ago. We also do an employee engagement scoring using Gallup. Our employee engagement scores historically were average probably 55-60%. They're now over 80%. And we're able to communicate what's going on, our plans, our ideas, and giving feedback to our team on a daily basis through Blink. It's had an enormous impact on engagement, morale. I and the HR team are really been the active communicators of some of these initiatives. And the team can really see that we understand and care about their situation, the challenges they're facing with fuel costs and transportation costs, and we really value what they're doing. Some of the things that we post every day are production information, any quality information. The one thing that we've communicated every single day since we launched Blink was safety information. So people see an update of our safety status, if there's been any kind of an incident, near miss, etc. People see that every day. So they get key information that's relevant to their work in our business. Safety, production, quality, client feedback, etc. Right now, we're promoting our initiatives in terms of recruitment and retention to make us the most attractive employer that people can come to. And when new people come in, they're pretty shocked when they can send a chat message to the president of the company at any point in time. Because we're bringing a lot of new people now, I do my best to try to connect with as many of them as I can. The other day I was doing a walkthrough, talked to 6 of our team and talked to them about Blink and said, this is meant to be a two-way communication tool. So if you ever need anything, I'm a click away if I can be of any assistance and support. We're really trying to use it as the first place for people to go to for information on the company and what's going on, regardless of what that is. A promotion. We have found when you give promotions and gifts away, the traction and engagement is skyrockets then. Right now, I believe the last few weeks, something like 2/3 of our people are connecting, maybe closer to three-quarters of our people are connecting with Blink at least every day. Everyone's looking for a way to differentiate what they're doing with the company. And I think that something like Blink provides and gives you the opportunity to do a lot more unique things to engage with your people and to attract and retain your people than just paying them more. In the manufacturing space specifically, because I think that there's been in many cases, a poor habit in manufacturing of commoditizing the general workforce in operations, where I think they should be engaging them in a positive way to make sure that you bring in the right talent to your organization in the right way. If the only thing you got to offer is a slightly higher rate of pay, that's not going to be a sustainable solution. I talked to one of our larger clients last week at one of our industry trade shows. He's in a difficult labor market where he is. He has a large auto company that's growing quite rapidly near them. They increased their wage rates because of inflation and to attract more people by 28%. We did not do that. I told him what we did, and he thought about it for a second and said, I wish we did what you did. Because we're trying to differentiate what we're doing as opposed to just feeding into the inflationary pressures in the long run that are absolutely not sustainable in the long run. Our operation manager was speaking to a friend of his the other day and was telling him all the things that we were doing to differentiate our recruitment and retention of people and what we were doing to create a much higher level of engagement. He explained to that general manager the platform we were using, which of course is Blink, and how we were using it to channel all of these ideas that we had to differentiate ourselves. If people are just numbers to you, then don't do this, because if you don't care about what people think, then you shouldn't use Blink. But if you care what your people think, you care how you communicate with them, you care about their level of engagement, the leaders in organizations need to leap past the functional hurdles that implementing something like this does, show the courage and the leadership to be different, to show your team you care, to show your team that they're important. They're not just a number or a wage rate. And you can only do that if you have a means to talk to them. It's really not that hard. We implemented the Blink app in a matter of weeks. Some of the things that we've implemented are, have taken a lot of work for some of our leaders, including me and our HR team. But the value that we've gotten is 100 times greater than the effort that we put in. I think that it's really foolish if you're looking at your team, especially in manufacturing, as just somebody that you need to pay to come to work to do, if you're paying for their hands, you're only going to get your hands. But with a little effort and a little engagement and a little communication, you can get their hearts and their minds as well. And if you get their hearts and their minds and they're part of the mission of the company, then you got something that's different. And the only way you can do that is if you have a means to communicate. Yes, you're gonna have to make changes in your HR practices. Yes, you're gonna have to go to frontline leaders and senior leaders who I've never posted anything on social media in my life, that are awkward and that don't, post silly things and make mistakes. If you're satisfied with the current state, don't do anything differently. But I think that's an enormous mistake, and you're really leaving a lot of money on the table. If we're already fighting for the workforce that's going to support that today, well, what's it going to be like if we actually start moving at some of that back? We have to be cleverer as manufacturing leaders to support our society and our employment for those people that don't want to become doctors and lawyers. And this is the way to do that. Being able to communicate your mission, your vision, how you want people to engage with their work, what's going on with changes. The younger workforce coming into manufacturing expects that. And if they don't get it, they will leave.